Hi folks, Debbie Ray here, the gardener wife. I'm getting ready to plant some potatoes in containers again this year, and I'm going to show you how I'm doing it. I'm doing it a little bit different this year, mainly because I am so inspired about getting new pots. Normally I've planted in old, leftover pots like this from shrub purchases and things. But this year I've ordered these fabric pots, and they have a flap on the side so that I can harvest early if I want, get in here without disturbing the rest that's going on. They have drainage holes at the bottom, even though the fabric itself is pretty permeable. And beautiful color too, so why not? So I've got 4 of those, and I usually fill, these pots with a mix of old potting soil. When I put containers away in the fall, I dump the soil into these large construction weight bags, and they've sat out in the sun and snow and cold through the winter. Normally I would mix that with compost and put fertilizer in there, and that's what I would plant my potatoes in. But I think new pots deserve a new mix, so I'm going to be combining probably some of these things here that I've collected, and at least for the new pots, getting a new mix. And then another thing that's different is because these pots are bigger than what I've used in the past, I'm going to put more seed potatoes in them. I'm figuring about 3 in each of these, and then 2 in these. Now, let's look at the seed potatoes that I got. At the time I bought these seed potatoes, all that they had were red potatoes, so that's what I got, because these are just like 59 cents a pound for the seed potatoes. And when I'm growing it myself, I'm really not too picky about the variety. I also saved some of these Yukon Golds that I bought to eat, organic potatoes, and as you can see, they're developing eyes and are ready to plant. So I'm going to be growing Yukon Gold and red potatoes this year. Oh wait, one more thing that I'm going to do different this year because of these new pots. You can see how much taller and deeper they are. So I'm going to be able to give my potatoes a lot more growing room. So I will fill it about 4 inches or so with the potting mix, and then place my potatoes in there, and then I'm going to fill it another 8 to 10 inches. So that's going to give a lot more room for potatoes to form than I've had in years past in the other pots. After green growth appears and gets to the top, I'll probably add another couple inches of potting soil. The thing about that is I want to plant nasturtiums up here too. So I think I will try planting those in little pots until I've got the soil up to the level here and where I want it. And then, until then I can set those pots in. We'll see. It's a work in progress. So thanks for following along the journey with me. And there you go. This year's potato crop is all planted. I've got my 4 new pots, 1 old one. I used a handmade mix of 1/3 mushroom compost, 1/3 peat moss, and 1/3 topsoil, which I mixed in this metal bin here. I used a compost turner to mix it because it's so much easier. You just twirl it and lift it up, and it mixes everything quite thoroughly, like a mix master for soil or compost. And I find that to be a lot easier than mixing it in a wheelbarrow. We have to try to use a big shovel to turn everything around. Of course, you can skip this step altogether just by buying an organic potting mix that's made for containers. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is I do add organic fertilizer. So I put that in about 4 inches above where the potatoes were. Remember, I filled the first 4 inches with the potting mix, placed the potatoes there, and then the next 8 to 10 inches with more potting mix. Well, I stopped about 4 inches up here and sprinkled the fertilizer in there, and then filled it up to here. And it's still not thoroughly full. And the next step now is going to be to water these in thoroughly. Each time these get watered, I want to see water coming out through the bottom. And we're probably going to get rain, so we'll get even more water tonight. Perfect.